Hello and welcome to, or welcome back to, TheSimplyCa. My name is Alana, and today we are going to do an Ashtanga warm-up followed by some lunges. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet, just get into that front body opening, and let's get warmed up right away. So come on up to the front of your mat-ish. You have the choice of either big toes touching or feet hips width apart, whatever feels the most neutral and most stable for you. Release your arms down to your sides, close your eyes, and just spend a moment to settle into your breath. As you breathe in, flutter your eyes open and reach your arms up and overhead. As you breathe out, hinge forward, forward fold. Knees can be soft if you need. Halfway lift, breathe in, use your shins if you need to. Exhale, plant your hands and please step back to high plank. Take a full breath in. Stay here, breath out. Inhale. And as you exhale, lower yourself forwards and down. As you breathe in, lift and open your chest. As you breathe out, lower. Inhale, press back up, hands and knees or high plank. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. In this first downward facing dog, give yourself a few moments, a few breaths to wiggle and adjust to find yourself in downward facing dog. Last breath here. As you breathe in, soften your knees, look forward between your hands, and then step up to the top of your mat, forward fold as you breathe out. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, let it go. Stand up, reach up, inhale. Exhale, dive forwards and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank and pause. Inhale and exhale. Breath in. Exhale, lower forwards and down. Inhale, lift and open your chest. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up hands and knees or high plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Last round of breath here. As you breathe in, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, and step up to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold down. Flat back, inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, dive forwards and down. You can continue on that same version. Inhale, halfway lift, or you can step back and lower through chaturanga. As you breathe in, lift and open your chest. And as you breathe out, you might either be lowering back to the mat or directly to downward facing dog. We'll meet in downward facing dog where you've got a few breaths to settle. I do have a chaturanga tutorial as well, and in that we address jumping back versus stepping back. I have opinions. They are strong. But without getting into that here, please do not jump into high plank. As you breathe in, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, step up to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Flat back, inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, dive down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank, lower through chaturanga, or all the way to the floor. Breathe in as you take your back bend, and breathe out as you shift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. As you breathe in, soften your knees. Look forwards and step up to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, let it go. Flat back, inhale, stand up, reach up. We've got one more round of Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, dive forwards and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. You can take any of those previous ones, or if you want, you can always jump to Chaturanga. Inhale, open your chest, and exhale, hips go up and back. Always finding your body, your breath, and the variation of your downward facing dog each time. Look forward between your hands, soften your knees, step up to the top of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. And exhale to fold. Flat back, stand up, reach up. Exhale, hands come to your heart. Utkatasana, chair pose, inhale. Bend your knees, reach your arms up. Exhale, hinge forwards and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands. We're going to go to downward facing dog. So whatever that looks like, whatever flow variation, whatever vinyasa, or just go to there. From downward facing dog, we are going to take this first one a little bit slower. Inhale, reach your right leg up and back. Exhale, step your right foot forward and through. Pivot onto your back foot, setting up warrior one. Inhale. Come on up. Adjust your clothing. Reach up. You can have your hands shoulder width apart or palms coming together to touch. Really root down through your pelvis to feel that length, that opening through your left side. As you breathe out, hinge forward, plant your hands, step back, cycle through your variation of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As you breathe in, you're going to reach your left leg up and back. And as you breathe out, you're going to step your left foot forward and through, pivot down on your right foot. Come on up, warrior one. Really anchor down through your pelvis, opening up your left side. That's your right side. Good. You can have your hands shoulder width apart or palms touching. Really lengthen your spine. As you exhale, hinge forward, cycle through your variation of a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward between your hands, soften your knees and step out to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold down. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Utkatasana, inhale, arms reach up. And then exhale, stand up. All right, these next two are going to be with breath, so a little quicker. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, just let it go. Good. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale, hinge down, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, flow through your vinyasa. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right away, right foot steps forward, pivot on your back heel. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge forwards and down, plant your hands, cycle through your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Right away, left foot steps forward. Pivot your right heel down. Breath in, arms reach up. Exhale, lower down, cycle through. We'll meet where we catch our breath in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, step up to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sink your hips, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, stand tall. Again, bend your knees, sink your hips, arms reach up, breathe in. Exhale, hinge forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. We're going to meet in downward facing dog. So get yourself there through your vinyasa. Immediately, right foot steps forward, pivot on your back heel, arms reach up, breathe in. Breathe out, hands hinge down, step back, flow through. Immediately from down dog, step your left foot forward, pivot your right heel down, breath in, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge forward, ground down, cycle through. Then we meet where we breathe in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, step up to the top of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sink your hips, Utkatasana. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, stand tall. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge forwards and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands. This time we're going to downward facing dog. So if you want to flow through your vinyasa, we're going to stay in downward facing dog as we prepare for some lunges. So as you breathe in, you're going to reach your right leg up and back. As you breathe out, you're going to step your right foot forward and through between your hands. Fingertips can be on blocks or whatever you need, or the floor. And then you're going to drop your head so that you can roughly see if your right sitting bone is approximately in line with your right knee. Really press out through the ball of your left foot, and then try to have your collarbones a little bit open here. Good. Go ahead, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. If you want to vinyasa through, you are more than welcome to do that. And if you want to hang out in down dog, you can do that too. All right, as you breathe in, you're going to reach your left leg up and back. And then as you breathe out, you're going to step your left foot forward and through. Again, hands are on either side of your front foot to start. And then drop your head so that you can see that your left sitting bone is approximately in line with your left knee. Push out through the ball of your right foot so that your right leg is really charged, really activated. Now, if you have a lot of flexibility in your hips, there's a kind of sinking down that happens because we want so much to get into those hip flexors. But in this particular variation, you're actually going to keep a little bit more upright. So your hips are a little higher than they might be able to go if you have a lot of flexibility. Now, if you need to have blocks or books or any prop underneath your fingertips, go ahead and do that. Good. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Now again, if you need to flush it out, go for it. And then from downward facing dog, you're going to walk your thumbs together to touch. So you're not changing anything else in the structure of your downward facing dog, just palms come closer together. As you breathe in, reach your right leg up and back. And as you breathe out, you're going to step your right foot all the way outside your right hand. Now again, drop your head, and this time check to see if your sitting bone is roughly in line with your right knee. And do your best to angle your right knee roughly in line with the center of your right foot. Automatically, I go from fingers or palms to the tops of my fists. It's my natural, it's what I do. There's no reason, but basically you want to make sure that your wrists are comfortable here. And then if you drop your head, you might notice that your right hip is kind of popping out towards the right. So see if you can steer your right hip a little bit more towards the left, and that'll get a little bit more opening, a little bit more strength in that right glute, and a little bit more opening in that left hip flexor. Now we're going to stay as we are with this right foot forward, but just lower your back knee down. Untuck your back toes so that you're not crunching in your lumbar spine, right around the sacral. And then glance over your left shoulder, just to make sure that your left toes are pointing straight backwards and they're not curving in towards the right. For this one, you're going to stay up on your hands, or you could have blocks or props underneath your hands. And then you're just allowing your pelvis to sink forwards and down. And I didn't say it before, but I'm going to say it now, and this applies for all lunges. Your front heel is the most important part being connected to the mat. So no matter what variation we're doing, no matter what else is happening, your front heel must be on the mat. Good. Go ahead and tuck your back toes, pick up your back knee, and then step back to downward facing dog with your thumbs touching. So we're not going to take that vinyasa in between sides on this one. Just give yourself a moment here. And then inhale, breathe your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot outside of your left hand. If it doesn't go there on its own, just walk it up or put it up there with your hand. Now from here, that back leg is really charged, really fired up. Drop your head and notice if your pelvis is sinking down or if it's really lifted, and see if you can negotiate your hips so that your left sitting bone is approximately in line with your left knee, and that your left knee is approximately in line with the center of your left foot. And if that wasn't enough, slide your hips just a little bit towards the right so that you're feeling a pulling backwards action of your left glutes. Now from here, we're going to stay exactly as we are, but lower your right knee down. Untuck your right toes, look back behind you, make sure that they're pointing straight backwards. And then gently, as you breathe out, coax your pelvis a little bit more forwards and down. See if you can lengthen your spine a little bit. Soften your neck, your shoulders, your jaw. . From here, ground down through your hands, keeping your palms together. Pick up your back knee and step back, downward facing dog. You can go ahead and reset your hands to shoulder width. If you want to flow through a vinyasa, you can go and do that. Or you can stay in down dog. Again, you're going to draw your thumbs together to touch. And again, you're going to reach your right leg up and back. And then step your right foot outside of your right wrist. This time we're going to go straight down, lower your left knee, untuck your left toes. And this time we're going to open up the right leg. So it's not just a flip open. You're actually moving your entire leg, your entire femur bone, and everything it's connected to down. So right toes spin at about a 15-degree angle, and then your entire femur bone leans wide. You can stay up on your hands, or in this one, if you would like to, you can come down onto your forearms. Every exhale is the opportunity to soften a little bit more. And I do also want to comment for my friends who have a lot of flexibility in their left side here. What I see a lot of, especially in very flexible people, is a dropping of the left hip. But what I want you to think about is having a little helium balloon underneath that left hip flexor. So there's a slight buoyancy there. Okay. You have two options here. You can be up, well, you have a lot of options. You can stay as you are. You can come onto your hands. Now, if it works for you, you can bend your knee and reach back behind you with your right hand for your left foot. You can stay upright, twisting here, or you can be down on your left forearm, twisting here. Now again, that left hip wants to curl towards the mat. So really lift that left hip up, and you'll feel a deeper opening in that left hip flexor. But it'll be a little bit more internal versus on the lateral side. And if your foot is not available for you, you can always grab a towel, a strap, a belt if you have it, anything that can kind of like reach back for that leg, or you don't even have to grab onto it. All right, if you do have your leg though, release it down, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog, so thumbs are touching. And we're gonna move straight into the other side, so no vinyasa this time around. We'll do that between lunges, not between sides. So as you breathe in, reach your left leg up and back. And as you breathe out, you're gonna step your left foot out and wide of your left hand. Lower your right knee down, untuck your right toes, look over your right shoulder, make sure your toes are pointing straight backwards, and then you're gonna point your move, I guess. So what I do is I pivot on my heel. So my heel stays as it is, and then I just pivot my toes about 15 degrees to the corner. And then the entire femur drops wide. I hope that is showing up. I hope that's visible. You can stay up on your hands. You can come down onto your forearms. Whatever works. You can also put blocks. The one thing I am going to strongly suggest is that both of your elbows are the same height. So, or both of your hands are the same height. So we want to avoid one down and then like one hovering. You want to try and get both where they are. Now notice if that right hip is trying to lean into the mat, you're actually instead trying to pull it forward. So instead of it going to the right, you want to pull forwards and get that length that's happening here. And what we're doing with these lunges is we're just opening up, I shouldn't say just, what we're doing with these lunges is opening up that front line of the body, because everything that we do is contracting the psoas and those hip flexors, which restricts mobility in our spine as well as in the pelvis. So we're really trying to lengthen that front line so that we can avoid back pain. You can stay wherever you are. You can also bend your right knee and reach back with your with your left hand for that right foot. You can do that up on your hand or down on your forearm, or again, if you need a little extra length in your arm, use a strap, use a belt, a towel, whatever you've got available. And notice that that right outer hip is trying to dip towards the mat. See if you can imagine a slight helium balloon underneath your hip, just neutralizing your pelvis a little bit. And breathe into whatever you're feeling. If you have your back foot, you're going to softly release it. Round down through your hands. Step back, downward facing dog. Your choice, you can cycle through that vinyasa or you can stay in down dog. Sometimes after lunges, I just like to come forward onto my belly. But we're not completely done yet. We're going to do one more. Okay. Walk your thumbs together to touch. As you breathe in, right leg goes up. This time as you breathe out, you're going to step your right toes to your outer right wrist. So you're not stepping all the way up to your hand, just your right toes to your outer right wrist. As you lower your left knee down, your right knee is going to move forwards. Keep your right heel on the mat and you're fine. Unless there's something terrifying happening in your right knee, your right heel being on the mat means that your knee can go forwards. Look over your left shoulder, make sure that your left foot is pointing straight back. You can stay here. You can put blocks underneath your hands. Or you can crawl onto your right thigh. If you're crawling onto your right thigh, you're going to use your palms to push your right thigh forwards towards your knee. And you're going to sink into your pelvis. Then try to soften your shoulders. Again, it is so important for this one specifically that your right heel is really weighted. Okay. Go ahead, plant your hands back down, step back, downward facing dog. I always find that one a little bit challenging to get into downward facing dog from. As you breathe in, reach your left leg up and back. And as you breathe out, you're going to step your left toes to your outer left wrist. Lower your right knee down, and as you do that, your left knee is going to move forwards. Glance over your right shoulder, just make sure that your toes are pointing straight backwards. And then, with your left heel firmly grounded, you can stay as you are, and it is very forwards. Or you can crawl up onto your left thigh, push the skin of your left thigh forwards towards your knee, soften your shoulders, and let your pelvis get weighted with gravity. See if you can lift out of your hips just a little bit through your torso here. All right, go ahead, release your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. This time, separate your hands, shoulder width apart. Inhale, ripple forward, high plank, and as you exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Untuck your toes, and then gently lift and open your chest. You can stay in this Bhujangasana, or if you want, you can come into a Sphinx pose, or if you want, you could even spiral your fingertips wide, push into your hands, and sink just a little bit deeper into that front line opening. Try to wrap your upper arms into your sides and drop your pelvis into the mat. Go ahead and release yourself down. Inhale, press back up, hands and knees or high plank, and exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, step up to the top of your mat, forward fold, breathe in. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold, let it go. Flat back, inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, dive, forwards and down. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, plant your hands. We're going to meet in downward facing dog, so cycle through or not. As you breathe in, look forward between your hands, soften your knees, come to sit on your bum, and lie down on your back. Feet are going to be hips width apart with your knees bent. Again, I like to do that little crunch up to make sure that my heels are approximately hips width apart. Wrap your shoulders under your back. Give your arms that little cactus or robot. And then gently peel your pelvis, your low back, your mid back off the mat. From here you can stay or you can interlace your hands behind you and walk your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Dig into your heels and try to lengthen your sitting bones towards the backs of your knees as you puff up your chest. Gently lower yourself back down, so unclasp your hands, spread your shoulder blades out, and then lower upper back, mid back, and pelvis. Pause in neutral for a moment here. And then we're going to shift your hips over towards the right and let your knees fall to the left. So any variation of a twist that serves your body here, you might take a double knee for a little bit more of a easy twist. You might take a single knee, a cactus. I don't know why I keep saying cactus. An eagle leg or a figure four leg. And then you're going to softly come back through center. Just give yourself a pause here. And switch over to the other side. So hips go to the left, knees go to the right. Your choice on leg variation, maybe double knee, single knee, eagle, or figure four. When you feel about even on each side, come back through center and pause in neutral. And then if there's anything else that you need before Shavasana, go ahead and move into that shape, that expression. And as you're ready, settle yourself out into Shavasana. Give yourself this time and this space to be still, be quiet, release your breath, release your body, and sink into the softening here. Give yourself a moment of gratitude for this space, for this body. I thank you so much for being here, for taking this time, and for sharing this space. Please stay in your Shavasana as long as you can, as long as you need. Namaste.